Warning. Warning. Arch's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
Sir Jeremy, you are a true friend of the crown. Dilly dilly.
Oh, you might as well
Madam
leave this
Susan,
on.
you are an even truer friend of the crown. Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly.
What is that?
This is a spiced honey mead wine that I have really been into lately.
Oh, I don't know.
So,
She's
Dilly
hot.
dilly,
She's kind of cute.
right?
She's the queen.
Please follow Sir Brad. He's
Sir
going to give
Brad.
you a private tour of the pit of misery.
I'm sorry, what? Pit of misery, dilly dilly. Dilly dilly.
Dilly dilly. Oh, brother, here we go. Let's get back on the square of things. Put the square to the circle. Let's see what you guys are doing. So I have like two different chat windows popped up. So one comes from OBS and one's actually on my stream, my YouTube stream. Let me see what you guys are doing. So yeah, definitely Happy New Year for sure. Let's see, it's come up. Uncle Mark says, "Hey, Arch and everyone. Jamie O says, "Hey." Mark says, "Typo, Arch." What's the typo? Mala says, Uncle Archie is coming up soon after the P lady is done with his makeup. Yup. I'm like, huh? Mark says, with wind, it feels like negative 12 Fahrenheit here today. Actually, pretty nice out for our area. Yeah, today was a little bit nicer. It's 25. It's just been so cold. We had more snow. It wasn't a lot. I think Ken got a little bit more up in Connecticut. But it was enough to coat everything, and it hasn't disappeared. It's been too cold. And I've got 2 snowblowers to do, and they're outside. We'll catch up in a little bit. I'm almost done with the zero turn. I just wanted to show you guys what I was up to on that. It's basically done. And then I can get it off my table because I've got snowblowers to work on. I mean, I could work on them in the garage. It's just 2, but one of them's a nice, like, the half track kind of setup. Really kind of neat. And I just got to get those out of my way, and then I got to pull the motor out of Mike's big Sunstar. So it's just been so cold. So Mel says, he goes, "That's funny about the P lady." And he says he's got some new things coming up soon. He got a borescope for his Android phone. That's nice. That's a nice thing to have for sure. Absolutely. I wouldn't mind something like that. Just to peek inside of things. I mean, they sell regular borescopes that you can, but a lot of the ones that were out a few years back, we were watching all these different people with their newfangled borescopes. They kind of sucked. And they could never get the video right to us. So, like, maybe they could see it, but they're like, "Here, look." And you're like, "No, I can't see what you're looking at, bro." And it's all shaky and fuzzy, and you're trying to focus, and your eyes hurt from looking at it, and it's all over the place. Ken's here. Says, "Dilly dilly." Yep. He goes, "Klaus is coming up." Yeah. We'll bring Klaus up in a minute. Yep. TGN says, "Morning all." Ken says I fixed the 6 snowblowers this week, 2 more to go. Yeah, I just have the 2. Morning Mick at TGM. I just have the 2 to do, and then I got to pull that motor out. And let me show you real quick. We'll save Klaus for a minute because we got to visit some of the old stuff from last year. Right, I have a lot more, but I haven't had time to go through it all. Some of it's pretty weird, but that's fun to do. But I've been really busy doing other things at the same time. And my daughter is, hold on. Let's see. She's 10 minutes outside of, they just had a stop. They stopped early. I'll tell you that story. Missouri? Let's see. Missouri. She's 10 minutes outside. So I get at the end of the holes because it's literally a mile a minute and it feels like forever. Yeah, they had a broken muffler, but we kind of knew that was going to happen. So where was she in? Illinois, Indiana. Yeah. And so they stopped that. Nothing's really open today. But we kind of knew this, but he didn't get to everything. So then it fell off, and Christina found a spot, a nice shop. Nice guy, right? He kind of came up in New Jersey and then went down there and started his own shop. He goes, I don't want any money. He goes, just, take care of my worker. Yeah, Latino guy, Mexican or something, American, right, comes up. Instead of just stealing our money and trying to live off of the big brother, no, he's trying to make something of himself. So he returned the favor and he didn't charge them anything. And which is really cool because it's a Saturday, Let's see what they get. I'm getting caught up with them. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. So, yeah, she's almost there. And then they'll stop for tonight. They're tired. Right? They're trying to make up some time. They want to get to Texas. All my exes come from Texas. So they're trying to make it to there, which is, they're not going to get there. I don't know. We'll see. And then it's in the little bit warmer weather, and then they'll cruise that from there. They'll get to California, and I'm hoping she'll get caught up with a friend of hers. She doesn't have much money. One of her friends, she kind of grew up with, they lived out here, and they moved back to California back in like 2008 because they made some mistakes with their money and their finances in their house. And remember 2008, the banks went belly up. I actually had my mortgage with GMAC at like a 3% interest rate back then. And I lost it because they decided to put GMAC out of business and keep all the ripoff banks. GMAC didn't do anything wrong. And it was hard to get a mortgage like that with GMAC back in the day. You had to have very good financial standing to do it. And I was kind of proud of that. But a lot of people made these various mistakes, like .com bubble. And this is the stuff that was the source of arguments with my ex-wife for a long time. And so they lost the house and they had to go running back to mommy and daddy in California. And it's unfortunate because they were a nice couple, interracial. And I like both of them. And Christina lost, a really good friend. So they do try to keep up with each other. But this very pretty girl, she's trying to do the dancing and all of that stuff, Hollywood bit while she's still young. And you know how it is. Like, you always see the stories. These people, they'll pick up like any job that they can, but they don't really have any money because you can't afford to live on those kinds of jobs. But better that you can only try to do that while you're young. Honestly, I mean, not everybody's like Rodney Dangerfield because he came out. What if he's like 50 when he came out? That's rare. I think he was at least 50 when he came out. He was much older, but that's really rare. But Rodney was rare. He was great. Let's see what else you guys are doing. He goes, we had 4 inches of fluffy snow. Mark said. Yeah, sent for a safe trip. Prayers. Thank you, brother. He goes, it has a 16 mail house, Man About Mowers. That's just a great name because it comes with a 16-foot cord. Yeah? What are you going to try to do? Why do you need such a long cord? Right? You're going to check out your neighbors, cylinders? That's long. But at least you can get away from it. Johnny Bravo, he goes, hey, Arch, you survived Christmas. Yeah, it was really busy. Although I was around. I was on Ken's channel twice. But then I was getting tired because I'm trying to do all these different things. And I wanted to be around a little bit for Christina. And the cats found their stash of, they're like toys. And on the inside, fluffy toys. And on the inside is that stuff that makes them crazy, the catnip. And they were up in the pantry on top shelves. They found some last night, and I just put it back, but they must have got into the pantry. And now it's in a drawer, and they're trying to get into the drawer, right? So I've just been busy doing so many different things, and then I get tired at night. I can't help it. It's, busy all day. A lot of times, like I was up late last night, and I get a second wind. And last night I had like a second wind, and it was like 12 o'clock. So I'm not doing a live show at 12. Although Brett would probably be up on a weekend or something. He'd probably be around for that. Some of you guys might. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, Robert's mad about mowers. Yep. I think that's just an awesome name. And it fits him completely. It's hard coming up with a name. I mean, you can change it, I think, once every 6 months, but then that screws everybody up. So yes, I did actually start my second channel, and I'll show you a little bit tonight about some of the stuff that I've been working on with that, plus a little bit with the lathe and a bunch of other things, and a little bit of blues thing. I wanted to test a mic, but before I get into all of that, I want to show you guys just the last walk around. So I went through everything on the John Deere zero turn, and I was telling Ken on Ken's show the other day that I was looking at this thing, and I've said this before, it looks like it's pretty well made, but I complain about the box store stuff, right? And we all kind of know that there's certain of the John Deere equipment, like the LT110 with the transmission issues, and, there's some things that go bad with some of this box store pseudo John Deere that makes it so that you can't fix it, like it's not worth it. For most people to be able to do, maybe if you just want to try it yourself. And I'm thinking I kind of like this machine, and it seems like to be, like it's well built, and there's got to be something wrong with it. Like this guy, I can't imagine. Yeah, I found some stuff. That'll be in the video, but it has a lot to do with the deck and the way the deck was assembled and some quality and fitment issues. And one of the things is that if you try to adjust the anti-dive wheels, they hit the front wheels and lock up. One on the one side would lock up the driver's side, like the left side front wheel. It would just lock it. And it would not be able to turn. And remember, these are zero turns, so they need to swivel all the way around. I'm like, oh, there it is. And then I found another deck hanger rod that was all verklempt coming out. I had to rebend that. And other than that, I think it was the bracket for the anti-dive wheel that was just, located in the wrong spot on the deck. It needed to be moved over or something. I drilled a hole through it and I changed it. I had to humor everything. This deck has never been leveled properly. Whoever, I don't know when he got it. It was certainly over 5 years ago, because it's out of warranty. And I don't know, he said he bought it new, but I said to Ken, who puts this together? Is it someplace in the country that does this? Is it the people at Home Depot or whatever that have no clue, this is the stuff that you need to check out. So if you buy something from one of these box stores, especially if you get year-end, right now, fellas, year-end closeouts, whatever it is, like remember when they were getting rid of the Hondas, even with the issues with the camshaft, still worthy if you catch that in time. It was still a worthy thing. There's a lot of really good closeout deals, end of the year stuff, but just that when you get it home, go through it. Get the manual. That's what I did. I went online. I always do this. Get the manual, sit at night or whatever, have a cup of coffee, I light up a smoke or whatever, and I sit back and I just start reading and scanning the manual and just see what it does. And just look through it all and then familiarize yourself with the machine if it's new to you. This was new to me. So the standard fare stuff is always the same thing, if you're a mechanic and you've been doing mechanical work for a long time. But then there's the little idiosyncratic type things. Like I was wondering what lubricant do they call it? Well, they call it just a general lithium, multi-grease. I'm spraying lithium out of the can at this point. General purpose lithium grease on whatever. And a cage, because you want to be careful of certain things, And it dries, And there's Brett. Yeah, I just mentioned you, Brett. Yeah. So all of that kind of stuff, you missed the update on T. You might want to watch it from the beginning, So she's doing good. She's out. So what I say to her the day that she left. So it's only 2 weeks and 6 days until I see you again. All right. Yeah, my ex is worried. I'm a little worried, but I'm not. I told her boyfriend. I said, just make sure you take care of my daughter and you bring her home, because if anything happens to her, you're dead. Okay. And Christine laughed. Oh man, it's crazy. And of course, the cats are gonna miss her. That's probably why they're breaking into the stash, into the cat stash. They got in, yep. Now they can't get in the drawer. You know, but hopefully they'll fall asleep now for a little while. I think they overdosed this morning, I found out, because they were all like plowed out, you know, like this, because they were getting the zoomies and everything because they got into it. You can't let them have too much of that. From what I read, it says that they zoom out for a little bit, but then they crash. I guess it's kind of like alcohol. Like when we start drinking, we lose the inhibitions, and then we're like, you know, right before we get stupid, hopefully we fall asleep, or we get stupid and then we fall asleep. But yeah, let me show you this stuff here. Let me open up, do a little walk around on this. I want this window. Let's see, hold on. I want to go to the other monitor. I like it. It's nice. I can't wait to get the video out. Oh, I can't see this. It's kind of on the wrong angle. I think I got the pedestal the wrong way. Let's see here. Here's a walk around of it a little bit. I think this is one of them. Let's see. We'll find out. Yeah, that's it.
Everything's on here, and I looped up this throttle, the air a little bit. Take this tire,
That's the wheel.
because I brought it up to, here's a good spot to
He wants a mulching plate. Yeah. Yeah, I got to make up the bill. I got to do a couple of things tomorrow or Monday. And let me see if I can find the spot. Where are we? Down here. Was that yesterday? I don't remember. No, this is something different. It's the end of 2000. Hold on. It's the end of 2025, I think, because I just started a new folder for 26. And I think I did this a couple of days ago. Did I do it maybe before? Yeah, New Year's. Yeah, here's the issue. I'm just going to buzz through this because I don't know which one's which. But it's somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, I think this will do it.
So here's all the clearance we need. Plenty of clearance there. With the deck all the way up. Over to the other side.
Yeah, I'm drilling.
Alright, look at the distance here. It just clears. Okay? Then when we come over here,
He may not have even known it.
that's crap. Did they bend something up here? Yeah, they might have screwed that up. Well, that's just shit. Let me fuck around with that.
Let me go back a little bit and see if we can get to the rod. The deck was never leveled at all, and I rebuilt the draft rod.
Adjust the draft.
Right, so I'm fooling with the draft rod,
Oh, wait. Let me take that.
which
We
I
can adjust the draft.
beefed up.
Like one board.
Yeah, all right. So let's see.
See it, but
Yeah, hold on. I don't think that's it.
now and then
No.
he's up all the way. He's done.
No, that's not it. Let's go back. Like I said, I don't know what's what. So this is the other side. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, that's the shape.
Yeah.
That's as close as I'm gonna get it. Yeah, it needs more of this angle here. Then that little bend, they put that in a press. It just went. We don't want to bend it here. So,
Yep.
all right, I think I got it. So it's hanging up there.
It's close.
See?
It's locked in. What do you gotta do to bend this? I wanted to bend it cold.
It's. Might be able to bend it. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see.
Yeah, with the monster vise.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it took quite a bit. Now let me see if I can give you.
All right, so this one's sitting nice.
Yeah, this is it. Hold on.
Right? And so that
Are you hanging natural?
causing it.
All right, coming back. So, it has a little nipple on the end, that little detent, which rides in a slot, and that's what locks that end of the rod in. Now, if he does have any more problems, I can't bend it any more than I've already bent it. It's fine. Everything's lined up. This deck was never adjusted right. I don't know what he was doing or how he broke that draft rod. It could be because he was trying to tighten it or loosen it and was going in the wrong direction and sheared it. I would not be surprised. He doesn't know about lefty, loosey, righty, tighty. That could have been a reason. Or the deck was nose down. So he also might have been plowing into everything. So that's what I'm thinking. But it's good to go now. Humor everything, get the blades. I like the blades up just a scotch in the front. I like, on my mowers, I talk about this. Especially when the grass starts to get high, if you have weird undulations, I like to go one notch higher in the front. This way you get a cut. You're not diving. It ingests some of that, and then the back of the blade comes around, right, and cuts it again. It's kind of like, where's my comb? Whatever, I don't know where I did with it. There's a comb around here somewhere. But when your barber is going like that, and he's got the scissors, right, and he makes the first cut, gets the bulk of the junk out of the way, and then he tightens in, right? Same principle. The nose of his deck was down like a half of an inch, if not more, and the back was riding so high. He said it cut fine, but they don't even look. You think they look? Look at you guys. You can get that right, Ken. Robert's mad about mowers. Brett says, hi, all. Retracted a comment. Ken says, hey, Brett. Brett says, it turns a few cats into Cheech and Chong. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, the two of them. There's two. Well, they're all criminals. Molly's not that bad. Molly, what she likes to do is eat. And when the food tower is not delivering food, she tries to stick her paw up underneath there to see if she can get anything. Just like what we used to do with like the bubblegum machines and the vending machines when we were kids. You try to stick your hand up underneath there. Molly does that. You guys remember doing that? I remember doing that. Papa says, nice looking rig, that's 0 to... Yeah, and I'm like trying to find something wrong, and I got to be honest with you fellas. I mean, you can argue over whether the price is high or whatever, but I'm not seeing anything. What I like about that with the heavier machines is there's more to work with. They're more forgiving. Even if something's not right, I have a chance at noodling with it or fooling around with it, and the time that I spend on it, I can get something back for it. You know, I mean, I'm not going to overcharge them or anything like that. I don't know what I'm going to charge them. The bills are always, anytime you go to work on like a tractor, the average bill for almost anything that you're going to do, because they need more than one thing, usually. Usually by the time a customer brings you a tractor or neighbor or whatever, it just needs a carburetor tuning. I'm like, bro, have you seen this machine? Right? That wheel's no good. That one's flat. This one's falling off. That belt is garbage, right? The blades are bent sideways. You know, the motor's gagging in, I don't know, it's usually like $300-400. And these are hydros. You got to keep those fans clean. And even the manual says that whole back end where everything goes on, everything is in the back, which is kind of neat. It's easy to get to, but you got to keep it clean. This thing was a mess. And I'll include some of that footage. It'll probably be like a part 1, part 2. Try to keep everything like a half hour. It's got a wall carburetor. I didn't take the carburetor off. Plugs were shot. They were 2 different plugs, Denso and Champion. So somebody's been at it. The fuel filter was different, and the harness that holds the line, right? They didn't even bother putting the fuel filter back on it. It's so easy to do. Why? So you can see some schlocky attitude work to it. Like, you change a plug. You can't put matching plugs in. Is that a lot to ask? I mean, I don't have anything wrong with. I don't think against Denso. If it's, look like the right plug, if it's a cross reference, why don't you put another one in? Go get another one. And why did it need just one? Why did it? What happened? And the plugs were rotted, which I show that in the vid. So, yeah, I don't get it. It says, get the transit out. Yeah, right? Yep. Well, my deck is flat. That table, it's level and it's flat. I actually have a laser level, which I never bring it out to use it. I used it here in the shop when I was rebuilding everything, but wonder where that is. I think I know where it is. I'm sure the batteries are dead. Probably gacked up everything. Let's see. Mad says that anti-scalp wheel is way too close to the caster. You think? Right? It jams up. Ken says, put it on a welding table and make a jig. Yeah, right? No, I don't want a jig. I don't want to do this again. Jigs are for when you want to do it again. I don't want to do that again. That's what the big vise is for on a gigantic pole. Like a big long... That's a jack handle. That's what that is. It's kind of hot in here. Hold on. A little bit. I mean, I'm overdressed because I had the temps down in here because I was working all day. So I don't need it that warm right now. It's like now the chill's coming off the place, and I'm a little overdressed, but yeah, I mean, I don't let it get cold in here, but I don't like it too warm when I'm working, running around doing stuff. Man, it says the front end mower deck should be 1/8 to 1/2 inch lower than the back of a mower deck. It says the front end of a mower deck should be 1/8 to 1/2 inch lower than the back of the mower. I don't like that. See, I won't do that. If you read that somewhere, I would strongly disagree with that. I've never seen that as an advantage. Yeah, that's just that. Then you're gonna make scalp, and you're just overloading the deck. It doesn't make sense to me. It's not logical that you would do that, especially in tall grass. Boneyard says, "Hey, Arch, there's Bone. We were just playing. I was just showing some footage of a 0-turn I'm fooling around with." But it's basically done. I got to put the cover on the back of the motor. It's like a big steel cover that fits on. And I'll jack it up and I'll do the wheel. And then at some point, I'll have to sit down and try to figure out what the hell to charge him for all this. I got to total up what I did. I got to write it down. And then I'll ask him if he still wants me to make some type of mulching plate, cover plate. I got to look up a price for the factory version of it. He says they're like a couple $100, but I'll confirm, see if it's available. It should be, but we'll see. I mean, he uses it like that. I told him before, I'm like, you're nuts. You're going to break windows. You're going to get hurt. You're going to dent, chip cars. That's crazy. Oh, those guys don't care, And they probably don't even notice anything, when something goes wrong. Only 3 blade decks, Robert. 1/4 max down in front. Yeah, I don't like that. Either make it even, level, or lift it up a little bit. I just do not agree. I can't even stand the thought of doing that. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I have to break out from the crowd, right? Yeah, because it makes sense. Let it ingest a little bit of food, and then chew it up with your back molars, right, on the back of the blade. What are you doing? Right? Your front teeth are supposed to cut in, and then your I don't have any teeth anymore, thanks to diabetes. But, yeah, you're supposed to bite in and then your back before you swallow it. And it goes out to shoot. I got like these, I got to shave. This is getting to be too much with this beard crap. It's making my nose go crazy. I think all these hairs. I probably have some, I need a good haircut. And my hair is too long now. And I need a good body waxing and a bunch of Chinese chicks. And, yeah, I have to figure I'd throw that in there. Maybe they could handle all of that. Or some Mexican midgets and a couple of Coronas and a baby pool filled like, oil. Man says, he goes, okay, thanks for the info on this matter of a mower deck height of the front end of the mower deck. Happy ending for all. Yes, you need to have, no one should ever walk away without the happy ending, in my view. So let me show you what the other stuff that I was working on. So yeah, a bunch of different things. I also want to just do a little bit later on. I want to show you just a little bit about the project going on with the lathe. So I was actually able to get it going. And one of the things I bought was, and you'll see a little bit of it later, but what did I get here? I got a whole bunch of good stuff. Right? I spent too much money on the holidays. So what did I get? So I got, hold on. Where's the other one? There's all this crap in here. And while I was there, because I still have problems with my air compressor belt. And I mean, I need a new air compressor head. The motor's okay. Actually, I probably should get another motor for it too. And just go bigger, much bigger. The tank and everything is fine. All the plumbing, it's down in here in the basement. So, but they're all, ribbed belts, right, for her pleasure. And I'm like, you know what? I've been keeping an eye on it. And, like, this is the time of year where a lot of stuff starts to go out of stock. And with the way things are going, I'm like, it's not expensive. Bring one in. That way you have it. And because this is another one, they stretch out. And the other thing, too, is that what they sell, this is for like a Campbell Hausfeld. And what they sell, it's got too many ribs on it. So this one's chewed, but I just kept it for the length. And what I figured out was it's actually one rib too wide. So before I install that belt, I have to cut one of the ribs off. I don't like those belts. I just like V belts. So that was kind of the same problem with the old compressor. I mean, the old lathe, it's got flat belts. So I was watching this fella, because I've been researching flat belts, and it was driving me nuts. I could not get it to keep a belt on for the life of me. And I figured it out. You would think it would be forgiving, but it's not. It's not forgiving at all. So this is, these are nylon. You could just see it's a 1 inch, what was it? 1 inch by 10 feet. Now, usually, this is expensive. It's like $40. It's like a nylon, whatever. I forget what the composition is. It comes from a belt company. And I'm like, I'm not, I think the next one up is like, over $100, like these huge, big boxes of this stuff, huge lengths. And I was watching this guy. He made one up. He had an old lathe similar to mine, and what he was doing was he basically just mounted a piece of metal on it, like a steel top table. Just a thin piece of metal on a vertical, and he heated up with the torch, and then you have some flats, and you push the two ends of the belt together. You lay it down flat, and they melt. It melts the ends of the belt, and then you quickly take it off, and then you hold the two ends of the belts together until it fuses. And you just clean off whatever, after it's nice and dry and cooled down, you just clean off whatever you need to clean off. Put this somewhere. Where am I going to put it? Make it smooth. And if you did it right, it will stay. It will hold together. I'm like, what? No way. I'm like, I have to try that. Because the leather belts are a pain in the ass. You need the correct crimping tool to do that. Or you have to sew it. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. Let me try this. All right, let me just have it around. Now, this is for the main drive belt, because the main drive belt you can put on. The drive belt that runs the cones, for the head assembly on the lathe, that you have to, I already have it, but you have to put the pin in, right? There's no way to get it off. You have to take the pin out and pull the belt out and insert the belt through and then put the pin in and all that. And all that that's completely different. So there's no way to do it. You can't fuse a belt together. I suppose you could, but then you'd have to cut it to get it off. Yeah, one day I'm going to go back to V-belts. I don't like these cockamamie belt designs, but it is pretty neat, and I wanted to try to make it work and make it work correctly, but still be functional and not have me just go nuts, trying to keep a belt on. What I need to make is adjusters for the motor on that plate. I need to make those little adjusters that you can, with a fine thread nut, and you just kind of cinch up the motor a little bit so it's not flapping around. And then you make an adjustment and you tighten everything down, and then you run the machine. And in some cases, you can even make the adjustment while she's running and center the belt, just like you have like on a bandsaw or on those smaller handheld, sanders and what have you. You can, run that good knurled knob and track the belt properly. Once you get it close enough to where the belt kind of stays on, it isn't being thrown off as soon as you turn the machine on, you can do that, Yeah, the leather laced. Yeah, Papa says, he goes, stress relief, Ken says. Papa says, hey, Arch, any recommendations on the antivirus on the Windows PC? Don't want to spend a ton on Apple. Yeah, actually, I'm going to cover a little bit of that. And then my other channel, I'm definitely going to get into that. So you're going to get a little sneak peek on tonight of what some of the stuff that's going to be on my other channel. But yeah, absolutely. Ken says leather lace belt, scarf, diagonal cut. Yeah, yep. It's a whole thing. In a pinch, I use baling wire to stitch a leather belt. Yeah, on a lathe belt. Yeah, totally. So yeah, real quick, I'm going through a similar problem because everything I run is Windows 10, and I was just watching a guy tonight. He's running, let me see if I could just see it real quick. So he's running an AI rental rig for profit. He's a data miner kind of guy. And he doesn't know a lot about computers. I can tell. He's learning. He's honest about it. But he's been making money on these, they did Ethereum and, I actually, years ago, Bitcoin, I actually had a wallet. I lost it in the craziness of my life back then. I don't know what I would have had, but I started mining a long time ago. Anyway, the problem with Windows 11 is it's, talk about it being a data miner, it's a security issue. It's a data leak. It's an effing nightmare. It's an effing nightmare. It runs like shit. They have complete control over your PC and everything, and it's horrible. I don't want to get too into it tonight, but it's terrible. So I don't want, and I cannot use it. And I can't even use it. And people are pissed because they have relatively new machines that Microsoft is saying, oh, you have to get rid of it. It's no good. It doesn't have security policies, and you know you need that little nodule that plugs in, and so they lost a huge. I make it big on the internet. They lost a huge customer base. I don't think they care, at least not yet. So a lot of us are looking into back into other possibilities. And it's like, so how do you keep running Windows 10 a little bit longer? That's one of the things too that I'm going to probably talk about on the other channel. That's what I'm looking into, is how to get away with it. For $30, you can pay Microsoft and they'll give you another year of downloads and security updates. But there's ways of locking your system down. I mean, you want to go Linux. There are antivirus. The antivirus that's on, essentially that runs it within Windows, still gets updates. And it actually works really well. Exactly what else you could use, I'm not sure just yet. There's been so many problems with all of them. I mean, Avast was good back in the day, and then it turned out they were stealing data and selling it, right? Oh, jeez. So they were using their customer base instead of protecting them. They were right up the yin-yang. It's such a corrupt world, you know? So a lot of it's like this machine here does the video editing and the video recording and the live and everything else. And part of the problem that right now is between data mining for all the stuff that's going on, the AI, which is huge, we don't have the infrastructure for the AI. As they're building it, all of these computer companies, NVIDIA and everyone else, every chip manufacturer, if there's a chip in it, consider that the price of from a refrigerator, whatever, or a car is going to double, at least in that aspect. Computers have gotten, computer parts have gotten so ridiculously expensive. And all these companies have essentially been announcing that they're abandoning the consumer computer market. And the gamers were the ones that for a long time, we would push the edge of the technology. I was overclocking processors back in 2005 and 2006, running games, running servers, game servers, and building computers and repairing them. And that went all the way to about 2010 or 2011 when I just, people weren't using PCs that way anymore, unless you were a gamer or you were data mining. And the data miners, they raised the prices of all these video cards. Now, these AI companies are building huge infrastructure in the United States, which is good in the sense that we're getting that, but they're getting tax breaks, but they're utilizing all of the high-end chips and memory chips. So whether it's a cell phone, you better buy it soon. The prices for computer parts in August were the lowest that we've seen. They have now more than doubled for everything, for a stick of RAM, for a hard drive, you name it. So what was 200 is now 400. Some of these video cards are thousands. They were talking about raising the cost of one of their high-end video cards to $5,000 to $6,000 to $7,000 for one high-end video card. That's insane. That's just insane. So part of my other channel is going to talk about what I'm using and ways to figure out how to use the older equipment, simply because I was going to build a system around August, and I should have, because now I can't afford it. It's just priced right out. I'm done, right? There's no way. And I want to buy like a high-end NVMe hard drive, one more of them, so I can make some transfer some stuff over to this computer. $500 for a hard drive. Like, I think 4 terabytes is what it is. Now, granted, it's big and it's super fast, but $500? $300 for a 2 terabyte. For a 2 terabyte NVMe digital, electronic hard drive. What? I'm still using spinners. I have 2 12 terabyte hard drives in here where most of my video stuff from the cameras, it goes into those mirrored hard drives. They copy to each other immediately, and then it's safe. But I still need to back that up to something else. And that was a few $100s. But that's a lot of data. They're not fast, but they're safe and they're secure. So if you're a YouTuber or just a regular higher end computer user, I mean, gamers are just shit out of luck. They got to go for a long just to what? To play a game? So these data miners and the AI, they're going to make money. They're making an F ton of money. They don't care. They don't care. Raise the price to whatever. They don't care. They'll make it back. And these manufacturers are literally taking advantage of that. And they essentially have even written about it in their statements, quarterly and whatever, financial statements, what have you. And they just blow smoke up everybody's ass. They don't care. These are all like the big micro, Trend, whatever micro, it's like the biggest one here in the United States. And they're building a new facility here because Trump got them to build a new facility. But it's only going to be, I mean, maybe when it comes online, prices will come down within reason. But that's what, a year or two away? And it takes time to get on the market. So for the foreseeable future, whether it's a phone or a stupid little widget, or like I'm looking at some audio gear, if it everything now has some kind of computer memory or computer chip in it. Everything. It's not just a matter of throw a switch, turn it on, and it works. You know, like you guys, I was watching Ken's earlier about generators and stuff. And if it's a higher end generator, the one that you kind of want for all you really ridiculously expensive computer gear and whatever, well, it's going to have chips in it. And it's going to be expensive. I just can't. Let me move to the next segment and see what you guys are doing. So, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm going to gripe about on my other channel. I won't talk about it too much here. But, Uncle Mark says, sorry, but have to go. Nice spending some time with everyone. Safe and bit. Yeah, you got it, brother. Yeah, Linux. Yeah, Linux is, I don't know if you don't know, Rob Trapani 3802. Hey, Arch, did you use to live in Seaford? No. Nope. Linux is another operating system. It's been out forever, and they have different varieties of it, and they make versions that look and smell like Windows and Mint and others. It's an open source program, and it's very secure. And Linux is typically the backbone for a lot of systems. Oh, you grew up in at Merrill Road. Yeah, you're up from the Seaford Oyster Bay Expressway. Yeah, I know what it is, sure. Yup. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my sister still lives out there in my parents' old house. Oh, yeah. It's the backbone of a lot of things. Like, it's the backbone of, I don't know, I think even like the Samsung phones, I think a lot of that is the backbone for that is Linux. So I'm going to be looking into dual boot. I used to dual boot Linux years ago, so you could put Linux and Windows on the same machine. And then when you start the computer up, it posts the black screen and everything. You can then choose you can have multiple operating systems depending on how big your hard drive is. And you can choose what operating system you want. And it's very safe. It's very secure. However, not every app will work on it. Like some games will work on it. Some will work better. Some will not work as well. They have a replacement from Microsoft Office. I mean, it's like anything that you can imagine, pretty much there's a way to run it on Linux, and it doesn't have the hassles of the constant updates that get in your way, that destroy your computer, that wreck your shit. It doesn't get hacked. It's not really hackable in the same way. I mean, unless you let a hacker in because you don't know what you're doing. That happens. But it is a better operating system. Apple is good, but the problem with Apple is that Apple builds a box like they build a phone, and then there's no way to upgrade it. So I've upgraded my computer. It's 10 years old. I've been upgrading it for years, and I still have it. A 10-year-old Mac is in a museum or in the garbage dump. You know, every couple of years you got to buy something new, and the RAM is soldered in, the drives. I mean, like, it is what it is. You can't go inside and upgrade a processor, a CPU, or internally add more storage and things like that. They just don't allow that. And like this phone here, like I can't even view, it's so old now that I can't even really view my YouTube channel properly because the browser has updated, YouTube and Google, and they want at least us for the iOS to be 16.2. I could only upgrade this to 15.1 or whatever it was. It's done. That's why I don't go, on any of the live shows with my cell phone, because it can't handle it. It won't work. It doesn't work. I've tried it. It's too old. So that's the direction that Apple chose. And for a lot of people, it's not a problem. For the professionals, it's not as much of a problem, because when they want to upgrade, they just want all their shit to work together. Hold on. My air compressor's leaking. Hold on. That means I left something on it, and I hear it, and it's evacuating the tank. Hold on. I gotta pee. Hold on. Let's put the pee lady on, because I want to go pee, and before I get to the next segment. So if you guys want to go to the bathroom or something like that. But how far are we in? I always forget they changed this whole format of on YouTube, because I use the actual YouTube app. So they changed it, and I don't know where anything is. So where did they put it? It's up here somewhere. Oh yeah, 58. So we've been up for 58 minutes and 19 seconds, which is good. All right, we'll do a little bit longer show tonight. And I want to grab a little bit more coffee. Let's go to the pee lady. Where is she? Yeah, we'll take a quick pee break. All right, pee lady, you gotta get out of the way. You gotta get out of the way. Shove over. She does have nice legs, in her own way. I think she does. All right, lady, you gotta move over. Make sure she's off. By the way, Ken, if you're still here, I like the format, right, for James and Gary and that whole thing that you did. That was a good format. There's been some couple of good, not that your other videos aren't good, but, there's been, I thought there was some really good ones the past several videos. They were a lot of fun, but I like that format. And formatting is nice, right? Because if you have a format, people know what to expect, what they're supposed to do, But it came out really good. I think it was just, it was the right amount of time. And then at the end, it could be a little bit more relaxed, and it was, and that was nice. Very informative. Let's see. So Mark had to leave. Merrick, Merrick. I know, yeah. Mad about mowers. Would a Kevlar belt work on your air compressor? Yeah, probably. But that's money for what? Usually they put Kevlar inside, but they probably have some Kevlar in it. I don't know. I really just want to get something else. Brett says, "Okay, I'm back. Brother called." Yep. He goes, "I'll tell you, I'm really liking this new TV." Yeah, I bet. Yeah, nice TV, right? And again, the prices of all that's about to go up. So it's good you got it now. And what I was saying earlier is that pretty much like the enthusiast computer market is dead. It's going to die. Just like everything else I talk about. And it's because of all these big companies doing whatever the hell they want. The lockdowns was like the last nail in the coffin for so many small businesses. And they're just shoving everything at us. We didn't really even ask for a lot of this stuff, but they're just... AI is okay. So this guy is making... I was talking about earlier, he's basically making these computers that run AI systems. And it will work for a while. It'll be a thing for a while. He makes money. He spent, a couple of $1,000s on a computer, and it will run AI systems. There's a number of companies out there because they don't have all the infrastructure they need. So they're turning to contractors, essentially, that have access to this stuff. Oh, this Ken. Let's see what Ken says. He goes, "I am Klaus! I am Klaus." He wants to, we'll just do the Klaus thing. Hold on, let me just catch up. That's a big TV, Brett. Yeah. It doesn't seem that big in your big living room, though. When you were showing it, I'm like, I thought it was bigger than that. He's got a nice living room, so that's a good living room for that. And the distance where you hang, It's all relative, right? Because I'm here, you're having people ask live was fun. Yeah, yeah. That was nice. The ask live. Hold on, let's see. There is Klaus. Oh, yes, here we go. I got my headset on. I'm going to make sure I'm ready.
Klaus will take you.
Klaus will take you.
I am Klaus. I am Klaus. I am Klaus.
That's too funny. I like Klaus. I just like to make fun of that one aspect of it. I am Klaus. You know, he's like, Klaus, get out of the way. I am Klaus. I'm here. I'm here now. And have no fear. Klaus is here. Yeah, Klaus. Let's see, because I'm here having fun. To me, this looks as good, if not better, than the high-end Samsung or LG. Yeah, they're all about the same. Yes, a timeout for you. Klaus gave me a timeout. What was it, like last year or the year before? Yeah, he gave me a timeout. That was so funny. I almost fell off my chair as a result of all of that. Yeah, my ex-wife got a new monitor, TV, smart TV. She won it at her job. But the other one that she had is better. I forget what the brands are. The other one that she had was bigger, and it sounded a lot better. But there was no control over the audio. Something was wrong with it. She didn't have the remote. I don't want to get involved. And it was just so loud, but it did sound really good. The one that she got is a little smaller. It looks really nice. It is smarter, and it's easier to control. And I got to say, it is very nice, you know. Big Mike's got another monitor for me. This one's decent. This is like, what, like a 32 or something? This one right here. I don't have the other camera on. Hey, you'll see it in a minute. Hold on. Let's just zing past this. This is just a little bit of stuff that I was accumulating for a project I was working on. And for my potential new channel, what I want to do is I want to make like a 10-minute video. Like just basically like introducing myself on my new channel. I never did it with this channel. I don't know if any of you guys have ever done that with your YouTube channels, but I've seen it where it's like, hey, I'm Arch and this is what I do. Kind of like when you, like today, Ken, or whenever you recorded that video where everybody kind of came in and said, I'm this, you know, this is who I am and where I come from and what I do. And just a basic introduction. I want to make it 10 minutes and I want to talk about the kind of stuff that you're going to see on my channel. So that if you have an interest in one of these things, I don't know which ones I'll focus on as the channel progresses. A lot of it has to do with YouTube and the desire of the people watching it. If something is a little bit more entertaining or interesting in a particular category, well, then that's what I'll focus more on. But I'm a moron, and I'm going to just do whatever the hell I do anyway. So let me just cue this up. It's not edited or anything. But just to show you, I got a new mic, another new mic, and another one is coming. But I was just, you know, it's the beginning of the year, so I did a backup, an actual, you know, I also back up my files, but I backed up my operating system to another hard drive. Yeah, oh, okay. That's not for me. It's the girls chatting. And I cleaned my desk and everything. Yeah, here we go. Oh, a little bit jammed up. This is the monster computer I have. And it's packed. It's loaded with all manner of hard drives and add-on cards. And it's older too, but it runs really well. And I wanted to build a new computer to replace it and make that my server. And I should have tried to start doing it in August. But now because everything has gone up so much, I can't afford it. So I'm like, all right, let's clean it up. It was really dusty. It blew it out. Clean off my table. Clean up my little cubby hole, right? It's my little area. This is what's behind the mess, hidden by Panduit and out of the way. I want to pick up a Furman power distribution box. I have another one, but it's not the Furman. And there's my amp. So let's just like wipe everything down. So this will be on my other channel just to show people that, people build this stuff. I made all this and collected it. So if you want to make like a little YouTube entertainment, infotainment center, whatever, enthusiast center, this is the kind of stuff that I know people are interested in. I picked up some cables, more cables. That's an old Sound Blaster XFI. It's old. Yeah, and that's another thing. It's expensive.
So I'm going to come this way, across the conduit, and then down, and then over, right? And I'm going to have to put something also to hold up the extra cable. But that's going to have to stay there for now, and it kind of gets moved out a little bit. And then, of course, if I want to do something else later on, like if I want to move the amp over here,
Yeah, there's not a lot of room.
we can deal with that. Or if I just want to move the amp out that way, I have plenty of other cables. I've been going through most of my cables. I don't know, they're around here somewhere. It's a mess. I don't know. I don't know where they are. They're around here somewhere. Yeah, welcome to ripping everything apart.
Here's the mic.
Alright, first up is the Superlux. So this is the front. And I was pulling around with it earlier. Yeah, you don't get much out of the back. And like I said, it's a high pressure, so it can sit right on the amp. Some of the cables I took out. This one, this is the new one. That's the
They all came out.
one I just used. Alright, plug it in. This is a cool old mic, 1950s. Let me see if I can get an ident on that. Let me take a close look at it. So looking at it, I don't need the big magnifying glass here. And I'm seeing Turner Dynamics.
Yeah.
Ohms on it. It says high.
Yeah, we don't make anything.
You gotta
Let's see, is that it? Yeah, there might be one more. There might be one more.
That's
Yeah, I made filters for this because it's a shop. Everything gets filthy. There's the mic.
That's good. Okay. Just leave it like that for now. A couple of ties to hold it in place. Like I said, we're gonna go over that whole rig. That'll be a separate deal.
Yeah, she's making noises.
Add back that power distribution.
That didn't happen.
Power this.
No.
Because it's just too many things going on.
You think?
Go without it. So it's gonna mount it over there.
All right, let's see. I think I got one more where I show it together before tonight. Is it this one? I think there's one little spot. Let me see. Is there one little spot? I thought I took one more shot. What's today? Yeah. I thought it was in here. Maybe it's not. Oh, here it is. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we'll go to the mic test in a bit, but a little cubby hole spot for this kind of gear, and eventually I want to pick up some more modern, amp and speakers so that I can crank my guitar to it and crank it in the shop and not have to just wear headphones. He goes, let's see. I have audio? There should be audio. Oh, did you guys hear any audio? No, you didn't hear any audio on that? I didn't set it up. It doesn't matter because there wasn't a lot of audio on that. I wish I should have brought more audio in. Johnny says, mic hanging in front of an amplifier, feedback city. No, absolutely not. That mic is a high pressure mic and it's designed for literally to be laid up against an amplifier. I tried it, as like a vocal mic. It can be used for a vocal mic, but I don't have a mic mixer. So something like that is, well, $500, $400 and change. Again, everything has gone up in price. So yeah, I forgot to turn the audio on because I'm not thinking. It's getting late. I think Ken is leaving. Is Ken leaving? He goes, gotta run, late supper, stuffed shells. Yum, later everybody. So here's what I did with it. So I should have the audio on. So I did a test last night because I had to test it. I wanted to see how the mic sounded. So I did a test. So let's see. We'll run the test. And I'm going to shut my my audio off. Let's see. Hold on. I'll be back. Play the blues, right? I'm like, all right, let's just hook it up. I just want to hear it. I don't, no practicing. Just connect all the wires. I already connected the wires. I spent a better part of the day cleaning up everything and connecting wires and adjusting settings and trying to max out audio and visual settings. And I'm like, all right, we'll just connect it all together. And later on, when I sit down and relax for a little bit, just do a quick mic test and without any practice and just kind of like wail on top. When the wind is blowing, you unfurl the sails, so to speak. And I just we'll just blow across the top of it and see how it sounds. And that mic actually sounds pretty good considering it's connected to, and it's laying right in front of an amplifier. But that's what you do with those mics. They're designed for that. Unfortunately, I only have 2 channels to record to, so that's difficult, to get the visuals and layer it all on there and do that. And it doesn't leave any room for like an extra track to maybe capture the sound of the room or a little further away with an additional mic. And but it was all one take anyway, so it's like a practice thing, and it's just kind of fun to do. But better equipment is a lot more money. So again, on a budget in a little area, and you just you deal with what you got, right? Let's see. Brett says, Archie Ray Vaughan. Sounds like a cool variant of Little Wing. Yeah, a little bit. It's probably closer. It's a standard blues, but it's closer to like a Led Zeppelin. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. The one that goes I just can't think of the name of it right now. Because that's also a standard blues with some adjustments to it. Because a lot of this stuff, the formatting is really the same. I just avoided those lines. I have that backing track as well. I just avoided playing any of those lines because I didn't want to do that, and it was just practice. I'm probably Stevie is a different kind of a player. He's a shuffle blues, among other things. I'm probably closer to probably like Jimmy Page and his Sloppy Days, right? That's some of the influences from that as well. Hendrix, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I grew up listening to Hendrix for sure. All of those influences are there. Let's see, Mad says, I've been listening to Purple Haze by Jimi Hendrix and got a set of purple lens sunglasses coming from Amazon while I'm wearing my Jimi Hendrix Are You Experienced t-shirt. Nice. Rob says, Dark Side of the Garage. Oh, I like that. Yeah, Since I've Been Loving You. Yeah, yep. Since I've Been Loving You. So I actually put out one of those recordings I did years and years ago. I think it might actually be on my channel. I don't remember. It gets banged, though, because I play all of the lines on it, and because I do, those are called signature lines. And because I did that, YouTube, hit me for a copyright infringement. And it was just done with me singing, me playing guitar, a background beat from wherever I got it from the internet. And yeah, I got copyright infringement. So I'm trying to avoid some of that. Like, the idea of a lot of this is, one, to get me back into playing a little bit more, so I can have some more fun. And then I use little pieces of this as bumpers. I put out a song the other day. It was more like a love song, and it's got like 1,000 views. Some of them have several thousand views. They're like little 3-minute shorts. Like, I could make a short out of that and vertical it. It does better than my usual small equipment videos. Much better. Much better. So some of that will be on my other channel. And like tonight, you just saw a little bit, for those that watched that part, you saw a little bit about the equipment that I'm using and where I am and what I'm doing, how I connect the stuff. I'll get into that, how I edit it, how I do the audio work, and then I do the video work and how I put them together, and then kind of what I do with these things and how they wind up somewhere in one of my videos in a few seconds at a time. It's just fun, and it just kind of, get me back into stuff that I haven't really done in many, many years. And it's just fun doing it. Why else would you do it? Because it's just fun, Brett says, Eric Johnson is good too. Yeah, all those guys, they were all the greats. I listened to so much music and then tried to play it for so many years. I'm cold and I don't have my chops. So I'm trying to do things, and I'm not quite there, you know, and I'm missing a lot of my chops, you know, because I forgot them. Yeah, Mad says guitar stores don't like you playing Stairway to Heaven. No, they don't like, or Skinner, or, yeah, especially the guys that have been around for a long time. They heard that so much. Yeah, it's hard. When you go to a guitar store, it's actually kind of hard. You really need to think about, if you're a guitarist, like, what you would like to do if you want to go check out a guitar or an amp. I don't recommend just going in there and just playing anything. You really can't play a lot. They don't really want you to do that. Some of them have rooms where you can sit in, out of the way, but a lot of them don't. And that too, a lot of those places are struggling as well, because you got so much stuff coming from China and Asia and Eurasia, and some of those guitars are all right. Some of that equipment's all right. So one of the things I was looking at, I think I still have it here. Put this on the other, yeah. Speaking of stuff, go over to the right monitor. These are the new, here's my other pop-up chat. I'm not sure what to do with it. That's the OBS pop-up chat. I was looking at these, and a lot of guys use these. You'll see guys that maybe do electronic work, or some of the guys that are doing mechanical work that's real small. And like these cameras, 4K digital camera with the screen on it, 3840 by 2160 at 30 frames per second, HDMI. It's 1080p. You can use it in USB as well, or you can HDMI it. This is only 245. A lot of them are manual focus, which is good if you're working at a bench and you want to get in tight. This one also $100. Mokos, I don't know. 1080p. They call this a digital security camera, but it's more than that. And this one here is really neat because it's got a 10x optical zoom and with laser detection. And then you have this remote. So if you mount this like on an overhead or an angle over your workbench or any bench in here, up high, you can zoom in. I think this one, some of them have autofocus, some of them don't. And the prices are really, really good. And I know several people that have said that they use them for bench work. And instead of buying a very expensive camera or a video camera or whatever and trying to use that, and then, because you could just leave this on a mount. You know, for $225 or $109, you just set it up on a mount, give it power, you know, get a power adapter or something like that, and just kind of set it up, and you're good to go. And some of the guys are starting to use this stuff as well. And we're finding that, like, some of these things are really nice. A lot of these are USB powered, so you just bring it a USB cable, bring it up in OBS, record right to your laptop or your computer or whatever, and do your little video thing. A lot of them have mic inputs. Obviously, if they don't, you need another way to get your mic in there. But a lot of them do have mic inputs. And then there was the other thing that I was looking at. I think it was some of this stuff. And this goes more to, yeah, wait here. See, one of the next things I want to do is I want to add rails, because there's just, I don't have any rails to mount, like rail mounts on the front of this desk. I was just screwing it into the wood that I put in the front. But for $15, I can get a couple of, you know, rack mount rails, a nice additional drawer. I made a drawer for here, but that's a lockable drawer to keep camera gear in. This is the kind of stuff, like I said, I wanted to talk about and show and use on my other channel. And then for additional audio support, instead of trying to just find, I mean, I'm not against the old vintage stuff or the expensive shit, but right now, 2-channel power amp, 200 watts and up, 150, 200, you know, here's a pile for 115. It's got Bluetooth. You can connect it to your phone. Here's a standard fare one, this Gemini, stereo out. You know, when you want audio and you want it now and you want it cheap, you know, because, you know, you buy this and then you need speakers and then you need all the other stuff. Yeah, of course, by the time you're done, it's starting to get expensive. But again, it's a lot cheaper than going in any other direction that I can think of. I mean, really good like Yamaha gear and the stuff that we used to get and use years ago, you'll go for a lung. So, and then I was looking at the power conditioners, which I don't see here. But I like the Furman, but they also have, off-brand. These are the ones that, like the power distribution panels that go on the rack. I think this is one of them here. So, like, yeah, these are the power distribution panels that I was talking about. I have one, but I want to put one on my guitar amp as well, because all those plugs need to go somewhere, and they're all jammed into an outlet. And that's not good. And Ken was talking about, I think that was today, they were talking about, your expensive electronics, everything getting expensive. What generator would you use? None of them. Because their power, unless it's a very expensive one, here's the Furman. It's got the lights that pop out and they shine down. I think you can turn them too. You have a courtesy outlet out front as well. Two of them though, I mean, that's over $300. I really need two of them. I can get away with like a cheaper one and one good one. Here's another pile for $43. It's a basic surge protector. And of course it gives you all the outlets and everything around back. You got a switched outlet. I got a lot of plugs, a lot of wires. I mean, you guys saw it. There's a lot of stuff. Power sequencer, so you can turn things on and off. They can even be computer controlled. Again, that will go up because if there's chips in it. Very nice. And so you got the different, power outlets configurations back here. That one's also nice. And you get your voltage display so you can see where your power is. Anyway, coming back. And for guys that are kind of like doing like what I want to do, as I've seen a lot of guys starting up, one of the big things on YouTube, stuff that's trending, is people around our age and they want to start YouTube channels. And a lot of guys actually have little desk setups like this where they start doing a YouTube from. They start laying out their equipment. They talk about how they did it, why they did it that way. Not everybody's just sitting on a phone talking into a phone. Some people have a little bit more money and they want a nice little setup. My mic is kind of far away. It's nice. It's not in my face. I can actually have this mic so high up that if you don't want it in the shot, I can take it out of the shot and it still works fine. What mic is that, right? It's a Rode. It's expensive, but it's very high quality and you'll have it for a long time. And they make a newer model. So, when it comes to this and other technology, TV, stereo equipment, whatever, how do you use it? What are you using it for? A lot of guys have TVs in their shop. Wayne's always talking about, he's always watching some small equipment channel on his smart TV that's hanging up in the shop. One of my friends had said to me, Arch, why don't you go live and put a camera up, like a wide angle and just let that run? He's like, because he's in a truck all day long. He's like, there are people that just want company. Like they just want a thing going. And like, yeah, I have the video switcher over here. One of those cameras that I was just showing you for $150, one of them has a wide angle and you could put it up in an appropriate location, put a mic up. You could watch me. I don't know why anybody would want to, but he's like, because it's just there. And you know what? I watch people that do that stuff from time to time. When I'm in the shop, I'm noodling around. It's kind of like, instead of just having the stereo on, or the music on, and by the way, you can't have music on when you're doing a video work. I mean, because you'll get banged because you're listening to copyright protected stuff. And you really don't want somebody wandering around, on YouTube necessarily in the background. But if it's not that loud, it's the kind of thing you might be able to get away with. But, Robert Cray. Yeah, I used to listen to a lot of Robert Cray. He's still around. He's doing a tour again. I think he was just in town here at the theater in town. There's a lot of people that play in town. Let's see. What are they up to? They're going to Cracker Barrel or something? Cracker Barrel. I would eat that. They need a place to eat. Yeah, they're at Cracker Barrel. Nice. It's different time there now, right? They're in another time zone. They're in Central Time. Yeah, Lie to Me by Johnny Lang. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I'm glad you reminded me of that. Lie to me. There's so much good music out there. Papa says, he goes, how much are you using solar generator for any backup? No, that's another thing I would like to do. But again, more money. Absolutely. Got me thinking watching the amplifiers, power goes out. Yeah. Yeah, they actually cover a little bit about that today. Just a little bit. They were talking about some of those, solar backup powered rigs, inverters that use batteries. And that's another direction I want to go. And that will be more stuff that I'll do on the other channel as time, progresses. If the channel does okay, if it does all right. I don't know, but yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Crossfire was good, Mitch. Yeah, that was a good one. But you're absolutely right, Papa. I mean, that's, would I run it on one of the generators that I have, any of this equipment? No, I have. I did during Hurricane Sandy. I really had no choice. I ran a similar computer and it gave us internet, and I didn't do much of anything else. You can run your laptop and everything else and charge batteries for your inverters on your crappy generator. And then if you have an older refrigerator and or freezer, you can run your crappy generator and charge batteries or power that. But as you start to invest in, forget it. You build one nice computer right now. You're looking at, I think Ken said that his son just set up a new gaming rig. It was a small little one too. It's not even a full desk size. It's like $7,000 to play games. That's insane. At least what I do is fun and I use it to make videos. And yeah, I do get some money back for it. But $7,000? Oh, that would take me like a year or two to make that money back if I use the money for nothing else, right? That's crazy. Although if you run a business, you could write it off, to some degree, Brett says, good call, Mitch. Yes, sir. Great video on YouTube Music. That I couldn't stand the weather. That's one of my coffee for my breakfast. Shot of whiskey on the side. Oh, I haven't heard that in a long time. Holy shit. You just reminded me of that. Yeah, Brett says, I do all my YouTube with a night. Yeah, well, you have the higher end iPhone, and that's expensive. And the price for that is going to go up for sure. For sure. I couldn't do what I do just on a phone, though. That's not possible. Right, with all the stuff that I'm connecting and everything. It just wouldn't be possible just to have, even I do with 2 cameras. And it helps a lot. That's why I want another camera, at least. Something for over the bench. I'd like to mount one here and just have it dedicated so I don't have to keep taking it off and reconfiguring it. There's a lot of times where Ken will say, you want to come up for a live? I can't. The cameras are set up on their stands for my YouTube shit. I just happen to be taking a break. I'm not going to break them down and set them up. And if I were to try to turn a mic on, I'd be over there talking into the camera, and the stereo over here would have to be up so I could hear them talking. It would most likely feedback. I'm not going to run a headset. I burned out my cheap Logitech headset that was wireless because they're crap. So that one lasted like a year and a half. You're just throwing money away with some of this stuff. Because I'm in a shop. It has to be either in a durable situation or durable enough. I got to say, these Sony cameras are very durable. They're very good cameras. Those other ones that are cheaper, I would mount them in a spot and I would set them up and I would leave them there and keep them clean. Throw a lint-free, with these cameras, I have some lint-free towels that I throw over them when I'm grinding. Sometimes I'll show it. And I'll blow it off when I'm done or whatever. I try not to get them dirty. This camera's not sealed. Well, no, this camera is sealed. That camera over there is not sealed. So that's a consideration. So, you're not going to get sealing on a $200, $150 camera. You'll have to be careful with it. And once dirt gets inside, that's it. You're done. So, Mad About says Rush is doing a tour. Yeah, a lot of people just say they didn't want, I don't know how good Rush will do. That music is for its time. It was good music, but it was for its time. Yeah, we all tried to play Tom Sawyer when we were younger. Eric Lifeson is an interesting guitarist. He really is. But it's a weird music. You know, it was like our generation coming out with something different, and they were Canadians too, so that's a different call altogether as well. We grew up with the best music. Sorry to say for anybody that's too much younger than us. Sorry, guys. You did not luck out. Do what I did. I went back and I listened to all the music my parents listened to. And that was really good music. That was from like the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. You know, into the 70s. Yeah, Rush was okay. Right? They were really good, but I wasn't totally into them. It was, and they started to really hit on a lot of the electronic stuff, especially with the guitar. Like, I personally just like a more natural sounding guitar. I don't want it to be too, weird sounding. I don't mind it sometimes, but it can get carried away. Yeah, Fight the Good Fight. Triumph was good. They were loud and proud. Brett says, he goes, I was thinking of adding a sound bar to the TV, but oddly enough, it sounds pretty damn good. For the budget TV. That's what I was saying. Like, my ex-wife's older one, I think it was a JVC or something. It was a big one, but it really had nice sound. It's hers. I'm not going to ask her if she wants to get rid of it. That's up to her. Because I had mentioned something. She goes, where are you going to put it? That's true. There's no wall space here. It would be too big to sit in front of here, right? If you're editing videos and stuff, this is a good height, right? My camera's a little bit above it. These are 27s. This is like a 32. Most video editors are using about a 32 or the elliptical screen, but they prefer a flat, and you want it fast. And this is only a 1080p, but if you want to go up to 4K, it's not a gaming monitor. What they really look for is the resolution and the color science of the monitor, because like I would like to get a set of like decent reference series audio monitors, because when you're mixing audio, you want a flat, clean sound without anything added to it, because also how are you going to know how it's going to come out? And it's the same thing for like video editing on a monitor. You want like that color flat, and if you want to add to the color or take away, that's different, but you need some reference point. So future upgrades, if ever, like if I win lotto, like that's the direction I would go in, but it wouldn't be really big. And then the extra monitors are for your tool sets for the video editing, right? You could have your equalizer set up on another monitor and whatever else. You can split the screens and, literally have another screen over here right now. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. And this one is sitting on a music stand, that I clamped. In fact, I was looking at it today. I'm like, you better put another clamp on it, because if that clamp lets go, the whole thing's going to come collapsing down, and you're going to dump a nice monitor. It's like simple stuff like that. Like, I try to pick up shit that's cheaper or used. These monitors were all scratch and dent, and they were fine. One burned out, and I showed on my channel how I fixed it. Let's see. Matt says, I had an Akai glass yoke TV back in the day. Is it Akai? Papa says, so proud when I hear my 30-year-old kids listening to oil. I know, right? They do like it. You ever watch the reaction videos? You'll hear like young kids or some black folk. I was following this black couple for a while, and they liked it because they would listen to us white guys. And when they first time they heard like Bohemian Rhapsody, they were like, what? Because they're younger, right? And their culture is, in the cities and stuff, that wasn't really a thing when they were growing up. It was all the hip hop and all the R&B tip stuff. And they were like, what's this? White boy can sing. I'm laughing. And the kids like listen to some of the stuff that we grew up with, right? First time hearing this shit, because they usually set them up in a room or whatever, or somebody's got a good set of headphones or a good set of speakers and the quality is good. You want the quality, because we all had stereos, right? Like, I was trying to like EQ, like, no, people are listening to music on this piece of junk. You can't even hear the bass guitar. They remove it. They remove a lot of the bass stuff because it can't reproduce it. That was the whole thing with the wall of sound back in the 50s for car radios, AM car radios. They created the wall of sound because the car radios with the one speaker over AM radio were so crappy that to punch through all that horror and noise, they created this concept of the wall of sound. And basically, they just lined everything up in the studio and made it as loud and as full as possible and recorded it. And then they put it out over the AM waves, you know, and if it was catchy, that was the whole wall of sound thing. They made it for the equipment of the day. Now we have to dumb down everything. Like, you don't hear any music in the music anymore. You hear because this can't reproduce it. So don't even try. Put less in. It's all hook, 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 all the way through. Maybe there's a verse. You repeat the hook. That's the rhythm. And then maybe there's a break somewhere in there where they change something. It's all sampled. And it's just a few things going on. And it's the beat. Something's carrying the beat. And then enough room for the vocal. Oh, listen to the Brothers Johnson. Oh, I haven't heard that. Brent set the folder. Let's see. Brent sent. Let's see. I gotta get through to it. So now that I got my internet set up a little bit better. Oh, he's the cat over there. Watching it. We put up the cat. We put up the cat stuff, right? The fish tank and everything. Some of my cats, they were like, yeah, it does look big with the cat next to it. But your living room is a nice size. Yeah. So the cats, they look around the back, right? And on top, they're trying to figure out, well, why are, and then they touch the screen lightly. Like, well, why is all the fish here, but they're not around there? Like, they're so smart. Can you guys see it? You know, it's funny. Cats, like I say to my ex and my daughter, I'm like, the cats are really smart until they go full retard. There's something about their instincts that then they take over, and then they can't think anymore. They just react to their instinct, and it overpowers them. And so, you know, not to insult anybody, but they go full retard. They literally do. Like, they turn off any intelligence, and it just becomes this weird instinct thing. Little Binks was like, he hasn't been in my room for days. And last night, he yells at me because he wants me to go to bed earlier. And so I let him come up in my room, and he was literally on my pillow with his face laying on my face until at some point when he opened up his mouth and yawned or whatever and stink breath came out. I'm like, all right, you got to leave now. Humming away, making all that vibration noise right in my ear, right? I can hear him breathing, you know, but he's the only one that will do that. And my daughter says that the female is a little slut with me. She's like, oh my God, she doesn't do that like that with anybody else. Yeah, she's bad, right? She tries to woo me with all her feminine feline ways, constantly like nosing me, pushing into me, kissing me. She'll take her paw and rub my face, you know, because if I'm petting her, she thinks she can pet me. It's neat having four of them, and I guess what's really kind of neat is I didn't really know anything about cats because I was so allergic to them for so many years, and then to suddenly, after all the years of having all these different kinds of dogs and rabbits and whatever else, now suddenly I have cats, four of them all at once. You know, AM radio tried stereo back in the day. Yeah, and I was like, no. Well, you remember Quadrophenia, and basically. What's his name from The Who? Why can't I think of his name? He did a few albums in the quad stereo, 4-channel. But that was too much to catch on. He was into the high fidelity. And he tried to push it through. And it's not going to work because it's too much. You know, stereo did good. You don't need anything else. Some of those amps I was showing you actually have like multiple channels. And there was one that, you know, because of surround, but one of them had, they didn't really call it a surround. They're not receivers, they're amps. They called it a 4-channel amp. And so you had 4 separate channels. And I thought, ooh, that sounds interesting. They're not biased internally. So there's no like this stupid thing here, this 5.1 surround or whatever that's underneath me, that has coil whine. It was cheap. It's biased internally. So when you connect the wires to the subwoofer, it gets the subwoofer signal. When you connect the wires to the two main channels, you get most of everything. And then you have the other two channels, and the center only gets what the center gets. But what I like about like the multi-channel amps is that each one is its own amp, and you decide, right, what goes through it. And then you have to cross it over or set up however you want, but you decide what you're going to be doing with that channel. And that might be interesting for what I'm trying to do in the future. So I'm going to be thinking about it. I can't afford anything like that right now. So that gives me time to think and dream a little bit and think about, well, what would be kind of neat? Brett says, purring kitty puts me to sleep. It's supposed to. Yeah, Charlie used to do that. I was listening to some stuff recently, and they were talking about like the health benefits. Why cats doing certain things. And they even were so bold as to say that people with cancer have gone into remission because their cats took the cancer on and died, and actually got the same cancer that the human got. That they have these empathetic, sympathetic nervous systems for the owners that they pick. You see how John Clem's cat, because it's his cat now, I told him, I said, John, from what I understand, they pick us, right? We don't really pick them. They can refuse you. And that cat belongs to him now. Or I should say, he belongs to that cat now. That's it. It's done. It's a sealed deal. And you can't reject the cat. You got to love it till it dies, however that goes. So they pick us. And I said that to the girls even before I really known it, from observing. I said, that little cat coming up, Christina, on the porch and everything, I'm like, we're done. Like, you're done. She picked us. She picked you. She wants in. We didn't know she was pregnant. She probably kind of knew in their instinct way, but whatever it is, she picked us. That's it. It's over. Whatever comes with it. And at the time I said that, I didn't know it had, a brood inside. Whatever comes with it, comes with it. You just got to have to deal with it. So I said, try to keep them all, Why not? And she's glad she did. She is. Everybody says it. I didn't push. I've learned that with the females, I've gotten so much better with them. I've learned is you do what Jesus said. Is you plant the mustard seeds, the smallest seed of all. You plant the seed. You kind of need to get known for planting seeds. You're the farmer, right? You're the seed planter. But you got to plant it in the right spot in good soil and water it from time to time. And then leave them alone, right? Because women will turn on your ass, for sure. All right, I got to get out of here. Let's see what Mad said. Quad stereo systems. Yeah, for listening to Dark Side of the Moon. Yeah, totally. Yeah, Pete Townsend. I think it was Pete that was really into that. I don't know about Daltrey because Pete was into a lot of that stuff. A lot of those guys were. They were into the technology end of it. Well, Eddie Van Halen used to do, like, I'm using a rheostat, right? And it goes between the amp output and the speaker. And it reduces, it's like a load soak. So I can crank my amp up really loud to get the sound I want, and then I can turn the actual volume down. And it loads everything down. He used to use that. He told the stories about using it on the power end. And he got it from a lot of technicians, the idea, because a lot of amp technicians, or just in general, what they'll do is, so you got 120 volts coming out, and particularly in some of the old amps that use tube rectifiers, if the amp is old and the wiring isn't right and the caps are kind of beat, even if you think you've repaired it, you don't want to put a lot of voltage into it straight off because the fire is that much bigger when shit goes wrong. So you turn the output voltage from the rheostat, coming out of the wall down, and then you turn the switch on and you kind of wait and you look and you listen, and then you bring it up a little bit, to full voltage. What he would do is he would brown out his guitar amps. And that was some of the very first ways he got his sound. And then later on, he learned how to, manipulate the input and the tone stack by changing things within the amplifier. And of course, he came out with his 5150 amps, which, they sound really nice. They sound like Halen. you know. And there was one good story I heard. I'll get you out of here on this. Ted Nugent was playing with him somewhere. The two acts. And Ted went over to Eddie, and he was kind of jealous. And, you know, Ted's like in-your-face kind of guy. And he's like, you got to teach me and show me what you do to get that sound that you get. And Eddie just sort of laughed at him. He goes, because even if he plugged into his amp, it didn't kind of come out like that. And it's not just the playing, but he said, and my friend Arthur had said this to me years ago, he goes, it's not really in the equipment. It's in me. It's in my hands. And it's true, right? A lot of that is the way your calluses are, the way you inflect on the pick, the way you press on the strings. I mean, you could hear whether you liked what I was doing or not. There were certain harmonics that I was looking to hit, make it squeal or scream or sing or make it dull sounding. And that's not because I'm changing the tone knobs of the EQ. It's just in my fingers. And the more callus I have, the more I can do that. Even that sound that you might hear of a guitarist, and you heard it a little bit when I would pull my hand down or up, and you could hear the sound of the strings on the callus of your fingers because it's wound, right? On the bigger strings, there's another wire wound on the main core wire. So it's like not like nails on a chalkboard, but you could hear the scraping, the scuffing. And I love that sound, you know. It's like it was a Hot Blood. It was one of the other ones, like the original tune. There's that there's that one part where it really is loud and you can hear it, and the hand goes down. And it's right between the chords, and it just sounds so hot, and the guitar is so loud. Yeah, I like that. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Thanks for stopping in. Last one is Papa says, trying to get VHS tapes on my computer without eating the tapes. Yep. Been there, done that. Yep. Yeah, there are people that will do that for you, and they charge a lot of money. All right, guys, thanks for stopping in. I'll see you guys later. Get it!